Welcome to a solitaire wargame playthrough from theplayersaid.com. My name is Grant. Today I'm actually playing, it's an older game. I think it came out 2 or 3 years ago. It is a card-based solitaire game on the Gallipoli campaign in 1915, and specifically Anzac Cove, and not necessarily the rest of the British landings. But the game is called The Landing, Gallipoli 1915, and the game is published by Catastrophe Games. Plays in about 15 to 30 minutes, and it is a true solitaire game. The game is designed by Joe Schmidt and is a very cool game and interesting and unique. I think it's a game, in my opinion, that's going to cause you to reflect on particularly this battle, the difficulty, as we know, in World War I in the East. The Gallipoli campaign was an utter failure. No ground was gained. The Ottomans repulsed the British and the Anzac troops. And I think this game is to cause us in some ways to consider and think about it, which I think is kind of cool. The reason I say that is they do have, there's a phase called the journal phase, and you're supposed to kind of write down your reflections about what has happened, almost tell a mini AAR or a story. Joe also recommends, maybe you write a letter home to tell about your experience, or one of the things I thought might be cool is to take the role of the Lance Corporal, if he survives, and maybe write home to some of his brave men who lost their lives, because you're going to lose troops. But the game really is kind of unique, fun, interesting. It's very heavy on dice luck, very heavy on card draw luck, and that's okay because it plays in 15 minutes. The rules are literally 3 pages. The 4th page is a reading list and kind of designer notes. Here's the game setup. You can see we've got the game set up in a little bit different manner. I'm trying to make sure I keep everything in the frame. Rules are pretty easy to understand. The game's fairly light and is fairly simple. The game is broken into, you have 3 what are referred to as rounds. You have a dawn, a noon, and a dusk on April 25th of 1915. And each of those rounds has 4 turns. Those 4 turns consist of the play of 4 Anzac operations cards and 4 Ottoman operations cards. And then throughout each of the phases, the player can take various actions: advance, rally, and those kind of things. It's really fairly simple, right? It's advance and rally, and then ultimately at the end of the round, if you exist on the same terrain card as Ottoman troops, you're going to do a close combat. So let's go ahead and kind of dive into the rest of the setup. I've got most of it done. So you are the 11th Battalion, and you are a Lance Corporal. Here's your card right here, and I'll do a quick review once I'm done. You have spirit, and basically think of your spirit as your leadership, your courage. You have a marker. So the Lance Corporal can take 3 hits or stresses. Stress is something that comes specifically from Ottoman cards. Once he takes his 3rd, he is going to die and will be removed from the game. He's important to have because he kind of helps in that regard, being able to take more hits. But I'm going to be honest, he's probably going to get killed. That's just the way ultimately this is. But you're playing as the 11th Battalion. You have 4 Aussie troops, and they are represented by double-sided counters. There's the front side, what is called the ready side, and the other side is called unnerved. And at setup, you're going to take these and you're going to shuffle them in your hands, and you're going to drop them. Here, I'll drop that one. All right. So we dropped them. I had, sorry, hit the camera, 2 that landed on their ready side. I'll put those on the boats. And then we had 2 that landed on their unnerved side. So think of this as the amphibious invasion. You're taking fire, artillery fire, rifle fire as you're moving in. And some of the men are becoming unnerved. Some are holding fast. That is kind of what that represents. You're also going to take 3 of your New Zealand troops. Do the same process. Shake them, drop them. Okay, good. I have 2 that are fresh and 1 that is unnerved. They're going to be placed here on the Auckland Battalion card. And then there's an extra Indian artillery card. This represents the Indian artillery batteries that supported the landings. This card is going to go into your operations deck. You'll see it's an Anzac operations card when turn 2 starts. Let me just double check. I played this game a lot of times, but I don't want to screw it up. Yeah, so right here, shake the 3 New Zealand, drop them until the second round begins. And once again, remember that the rounds are the days. So I have to get through an entire dawn phase of 4 turns. Then on the second one during noon, the New Zealanders are going to show up with the Indian artillery. So that's going to help you. The next thing in setup we are going to do, and I have shuffled these. You have, I think there are 9 terrain cards, 4, 6. There are 9 terrain cards. And these have different defensive values, and they have different numbers of Ottoman counters that will appear on them. We're going to place 6 of those out, not revealing their makeup. We're not supposed to know that. There's 5. There's a 6th, and you can still see that. These 3 are going to be out of the game, so whatever those are. And I'm going to go ahead and show one to you. Oh, good. Gun Ridge was held out. You'll notice it has a defensive value of 3 in the upper left-hand corner. That is the value of the defense, and when you roll to advance, you're going to roll a d6. Sometimes that is modified by +1 or +2. You're going to take your total rolled number modified and subtract this from it, and that's how many troops can advance. So the most, 6 minus 3, you're going to get 3. This is a really hard location. I'm glad it didn't come up. Then also these red squares represent the number of Ottoman counters that you would place. Ottoman counters have no value on them. They don't have an unnerved side. They are double-sided. Once you hit them, they are removed from the game. And there's a finite number of them. There are 7 of those. Plus, you have an Ottoman sergeant who is the equivalent of the Lance Corporal. He also has 3 spirit. He is located only at the 6th terrain card, so there he's going to sit. The other thing I really enjoy about, they give a name, a location, and then they also give kind of a little bit of flavor text. The 3rd ridge, the initial objective that few soldiers would reach. Just a very cool. So we're going to put those out of the game. We now are going to, the only final part of setup is that I need to randomly draw 4 of these Anzac operations cards. We're going to put these other 2 over to the side. And we're going to do the same thing and draw 4 Ottoman operations cards and put the other couple over to the side. There are only 3 or 4 different types of cards. A fear card basically means you forfeit that turn. You don't get to do anything. You just move directly on to the Ottoman phase, draw a card, and do what it says. Some of them are advancing. You get a bonus to advancing or rallying. You have rifle fire that you can use one of your actions to shoot at the Ottomans kind of from range to get them off. And then you also have, I can't remember what the other ones, bayonets that help you in the close combat phase. So with that, we are now set up. We are ready to go. Let's go ahead and just, I'm going to bring the camera down just a little bit because I keep kind of hitting it and I still get everything in. All right, so we are starting on the boats. So we flip our cards over. Crap. I have a fear card, so I'm going to lose one of my 4 turns this time. This one's unique because it's going to be removed from the deck. there are 2 fear cards in the deck, so you're going to potentially lose. You could lose 2 turns in one round, which is devastating. I have a bayonet, so that's good if we can get into close combat, because that's going to allow me to hit on 4 5s and 6s in close combat versus only 5s and 6s. I have an Anzac Spirit, which is add +1 to a die roll. And then I have a rifle fire. If I potentially have some guys, Ottomans there that I might want to clear off, I can go ahead and use one of my actions and use these cards. So some of these cards happen automatically. The Anzac Spirit, that's just going to give you a +1 on your first die roll for advancing. I wish it was all of them. Bayonets is going to stay out, and once you get into close combat at the end of a phase, you're going to be able to use that as a benefit, and then it goes away. And then Rifle Fire actually will take you one of your actions, one of your 3 actions, and then you can shoot. You're only going to hit on 5s and 6s, so I don't use that one a whole lot unless it really makes good sense. All right, I'm going to go ahead. Well, damn it. I'm going to go ahead and play my first fear card, which means I lose my turn. Then that gets removed from the deck, so I'm going to throw that over there. We don't have to deal with that second fear. And then I'm going to flip over the first Ottoman's operations card. It says roll a die +1 die for each Ottoman token on the card. Well, there's no Ottoman tokens that are revealed, so I'm going to roll 1d6, and I'm going to deal a hit against the Anzacs for every result of 4, 5, or 6. So red dice are for the Ottomans. Damn it. I rolled a 6. So we have to take a hit. I'm going to have to take a hit on one of my fresh guys. I can rally him. It's okay. So that's the end of that turn. Now we go back to the Anzac phase where I'm going to continue playing my cards. I'm going to go ahead and do Rifle Fire, but I'm not going to use it because there's no targets. I'm going to try to move on to the beach. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a d6, and I reduce my roll by the amount of the defensive terrain there. Does that make sense? So I'm going to go ahead and roll. We're hoping for a high. Okay, 4. 4 minus 0, that means I'm going to get 4 guys up there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that was one of my actions. I have 2 left. So I want to try to move the Lance Corporal up as well. So I roll again, and yeah, I wish I would have rolled that one last time. So now my Lance Corporal, we're all together. That's my second action. I can't continue moving. Now what I'm going to do, well, I have 2 more cards. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to rally. Rally kind of sucks, I'm going to be honest. I roll a d6. Any result of a 2 or higher, I get to flip one of these unnerved counters back to their fresh site. If I roll a 6, they get flipped, and I can try to rally another guy. So let's roll. And I rolled a 1. So I failed. So that's the end of my turn. Let's go ahead and draw the next Ottomans. Oh, great. We're going to get shelled. So we're going to roll a die. Any result of 3+ deals a stress, and stress always has to be taken by the Lance Corporal. If there is a 6, we're going to roll an additional die. Let's pray that we don't roll 6. Okay, so 3+, Lance Corporal's going to take a stress, and that's why I mentioned he's going to take a lot of hits, and most likely, more often than not, is not going to survive the price of leadership. So there's no close combat, because we're not on a terrain card with Ottomans. So I'm actually going to go ahead and play the Anzac Spirit, and I'm going to try to use the +1 to advance. That doesn't cost one of my actions, but it does only work one time, which I think kind of sucks. Oh, crap. Well, Pine Ridge, we have a bad one right off the bat. We're going to place 2 Ottoman counters there because there are 2 red boxes. And this one has a terrain value of 3. Bummer. But remember, with the Anzac Spirit, we're going to get a +1. So I'm going to roll a 6-sider, modified by +1, and reduce Hey, that's amazing. 6 plus 1 is 7. Minus 3, I can move 4 guys over. So I'm actually going to move all my troops over. That was good. So that was one action. Now, I can't rally when I'm on a card with Ottomans, so I should have thought this through a little better, but that's okay. That's what this game is about, sometimes taking risk, and it doesn't always work out for you. With my second action, I'm going to go ahead and try to advance the Lance Corporal, and he makes it. For -3 is a 1, and now I have a final action, which kind of stinks because I can't do anything with that because I can't advance beyond the front line where the Ottoman counters are. So I didn't do this very well. I probably have already made some big mistakes, so don't play like me, but that's okay. I'm trying to show you what the game is about. All right, so I've played my card. We are going to draw an Ottoman operations card, and we get sniper fire. We're going to roll a die. On a result of 4+, we deal a wound. If the roll is a miss, we're going to deal a stress. Now, because the Lance Corporal's there, he's going to take a stress. And a wound is a really bad thing. It means one counter will be eliminated. Meaning, even if it is fresh and you choose that one, you're going to lose it. So I would choose one that is unnerved, but let's hope he doesn't hit us because I don't want to lose a guy yet. So they're going to roll a die. So no matter what, we're going to take a bad result, of course. We rolled a 5, so we're going to take a wound. So I will lose this unnerved Australian unit. So he goes over to the dead area. All right, that is over. Now we have what is called the close combat phase. After the Ottoman phase, when you play their card, if you have your troops and Ottoman troops in the same space, you are going to do a close combat. You get to roll 1d6 for each unit, but you can never have more than 3. I don't have a close combat card, or I would use it because that would help me hit on 4s, 5s, and 6s. The Ottomans are going to roll 2 because they have 2 guys. So we're going to roll, and hits are scored on a 5 or a 6. So let's hope that damn it. So they hit me once. So I'm going to, and this is simultaneous. I'm going to flip that Australian unit, but I also rolled a 5, so I eliminate an Ottoman unit, and we put him out of the game. This is a little bit of a dicey situation because really what's ending up happening here is I'm not going to be able to do any of my actions because I'm now cohabitating with this guy, and this is really sucky. I should have thought this through a little better, but I didn't. All right, so let's go to the 4th and final card, and I have bayonets. So I'm going to play my bayonets for actions. I can't do a rally because they're there. I can't move ahead because they're there. We're at the front. There's no rule that says you can move backwards, or I might do that. I'm just going to forego all of my actions because I can't do anything. And then we're going to, rifle fire. Roll a die plus 1 extra die per active Ottoman token. There are 1 there. We're going to roll 2. Each result of 4+ deals a stress. So potentially we could lose the Lance Corporal at this time. We're hoping not to roll 4s. We roll a 1 and a 3, so nothing happens. That's excellent. All right, so now we are done with the Ottomans phase. We are now back to close combat. So once again, I get 3 dice. They now only get 1 because they have 1 guy. And I'm also going to hit on 4, 5s, and 6s because I played the bayonets card. All right, let's roll. I score 2 hits, only need 1. They score a hit. I could take a hit on my Lance Corporal, but I'm going to actually lose another Australian unit, and I do kill the Ottoman. I don't know. Because I do know next round I'm going to get some reinforcements from the Auckland Battalion. So that's what I'll do. I don't want my Lance Corporal to die quite yet. So we are at the end of round one, the dawn round. We are now going to move to round two, or the noon round. We grab all the Ottoman cards and we shuffle them up. Do the same thing that we did last time. We draw 4. We're going to put those cards there. We take all of the played Anzac cards, with the exception of the fear card that was taken out of the game. Take the 2 that we didn't play, and we're now going to add in the Indian artillery card. We are going to shuffle these up. We're going to draw 4 of these. Boy, I'm really hoping I don't get that fear card. We'll see what we, damn it. So that hurts, but that's the cards we drew. And now we're going to land the New Zealand troops on the beach. And remember, we already dropped them, so they've now landed on the beach. We're good. All right, one other rule that I want to point out, because this is a very important rule. When you are attempting to move from one terrain card to the next, and you have Anzac and Australian and New Zealand troops in your Anzac troops, you're going to gain a +1 to advance. So it's very important to get these guys up here and keep them moving kind of together as a unit. So let's go ahead and start with our first card. Well, damn. I'm going to go ahead and do Anzac Spirit, because this is a hard one. I'm going to try to move these guys up. So this is kind of a waste, but it's important to do, because I got to get those guys up. So we are +1. We don't gain the +1 because New Zealand and Australian aren't moving together. We roll a 4 +1, 5 - 3. I'm going to get 2 of these guys to move up. Okay, that's good. Boy, that's a long way to go to card number 6. And you have to go to card 6. You have to beat the Ottoman sergeant and kill any remaining Ottoman troops. But the Ottoman troops are going to kind of go out of the game as you kill them on these terrain cards. More often than not, you have 1, maybe 2 Ottoman troops at the end, and then that Ottoman sergeant can take 3 hits. So it's like trying to kill 5 troops. Very, very challenging. All right, that was our first action, to move up, and we gained a +1. We're going to try to advance again. Actually, should I go ahead? I'm going to go ahead and try to rally, because I'm in bad shape. We're going to try to rally one of my Australian troops. I rolled a 3, so we successfully rally him, but didn't roll a 6, so that's all that action. And now we're going to try to advance with our third, Shrapnel Gully. So this has no Ottoman troops, and it only has a 1 defense. So we're going to try to move New Zealand and Anzac up to get a +1. So let's see. I rolled a 5. We're going to be able to move them together. That's a 6, -1 is a 5. I can get everybody up. That was very good. In fact, that was excellent, because we get everybody up, right? Now, I've got this one guy lagging behind, but the game is a press your luck, and you got to get going. You can't wait for everybody, and that guy's wounded anyway, so I'm going to risk it for a biscuit and see if this works. So that was my third action. We're now going to draw an Ottoman card. We get rifle fire. Roll a die. There are no active Ottoman cards, so just 1 die. Each 4 or higher adds a stress. So we're going to roll a red die. Freak. So the Lance Corporal takes a stress, and I can tell you this game is not going well so far. That I feel like I've missed every roll that I needed to make. All right, because there's no Ottomans out, I'm going to go ahead and play my fear. So that's all for our turn. We don't get to take an action. We now move to the Ottoman operations phase. Oh, we drew their fear. Now, their fear gets removed once it is played, so it is also out of the game, which means now we're going to get nothing but bad stuff the rest of the time. All right, so that is the end. We're not close combat phase. We don't have any Ottomans on there, so we are good. For our third action, We are going to play bayonets. I'm hoping that I'm able to move, and I'm going to advance on my first action. And the thing about bayonets is this kind of lasts until you actually get into a close combat. So keep that in mind. It's not like you have to spend an action to play that like you do for rifle fire or the Indian artillery if I wanted to. So we're going to try to move. We've got Plug's Plateau, defensive 2 with 1 Ottoman counter. That's not bad. We are attempting to move. I'm going to try to move Anzac and Aussie troops together. We roll 2 + 1. I don't get the +1, so I'm going to have to move 1 Australian troop in there. And that is now my, is that my second? That was my first action. So I'm going to try to move again. So I'm rolling. Oh, bonus. 6 + 1 is 7, -2 is 5. I can get everybody in there. Once again, I didn't rally, and I probably should have. I'm not playing this game well, so please don't follow my lead. With my third and final movement, I am going to try to move this guy up. I'll roll a 4 -3 is a 1, so he can move up to Pine Ridge. The rules aren't totally clear on whether you can actually do that, but I'm going to say that you can. So you might want to think that one through before you make those same mistakes. All right, we're going to go on to the Ottomans phase. Sniper fire. Roll a die. A 4+ deals a wound. Any other result is a stress. So pretty much no matter what, the Lance Corporal is going to be dead. I told you. I told you it would happen. Okay, so they actually miss, but that means he's going to take a stress. Think of sniper fire as stressful, right? So everybody has to keep their heads down. So the Lance Corporal is now dead. He is removed from the game and placed over to the side. That's not great. I've got my final card. Okay, let me think. The smart thing to do would be to try to use this for one of my 3 actions and take an artillery shot at that Ottoman. Then it would free me up to be able to move ahead to the next card. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play my Indian artillery, and for it costs an action, and I can actually do it again if I use another action point. So I'm going to roll. I need to roll a 4, 5, or a 6 to eliminate that, and I rolled a 4. So this Ottoman gets hit by some well-timed artillery fire. And now I have 2 actions left to try to get onto this terrain. So second action, I'm going to flip this over. Okay, Russell's Top, which has 1 odd. I've been pretty lucky. There are 2 or 3 cards. I did get 1, Pine Ridge, but I've been pretty fortunate. All right, let's go ahead and try to move. I'm going to roll a 6-sider. 3 + 1 is a 4 -2. I can move 1 each and gain that +1. For my third and final action before we do the last operations, I'm going to roll again. Roll a 5 + 1. I can move everybody up. That was very good. So you can see how important that Indian artillery card is. And if you remember, this rifle fire is similar to it. It only hits on a 5 or a 6, though. So you have to keep that in mind, because that's the way to kind of clear the path, allow you to move up, and get into combat so you can keep going. I'm actually now feeling not terribly bad about this. Not feeling great, but not terrible. Okay, so they do a bayonets, which has no immediate effect, although he's going to hit on a 4, 5, or a 6. So I get 3 dice, he gets 1. I hit on 5s or 6s. I get no hits, he gets no hits. Close combat ends. It doesn't continue. It's only 1 time, and if you have guys remaining, you're just going to have to fight with them next turn. So that's the end of the noon phase. We are going to prepare for the final round of the game, the dusk phase. We have to, with 3 or 4 actions, and let's hope we don't draw a fear card. I'm not going to hold my breath. We have to clear this, move, clear that one, get onto that one and fight them. I'm not hopeful that we're going to win this. The game is rough. I'm going to make sure you understand that. All right, Ottoman cards, we're going to go ahead and shuffle. And now they're only down to 5, so it's really all the bad stuff. And we're going to draw 4 of those cards. We're going to put those there. The other one is out of the game. Now the Anzac cards, we have lost one of our fear. And we're going to shuffle these. Well, I wish I could feel 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I'm afraid if I draw a fear this... Hey, I didn't draw a fear. If I drew a fear, I think I was definitely going to lose. It's just hard to lose that round. But I think we're good. Because I think I'm going to do the Indian artillery again. Let's see how this goes. Yes, let's see how this goes. So, we got to move the turn marker up. Yeah, I have a feeling this is a bad terrain, but we'll see. So I'm going to play the Indian artillery. I'm going to play that there. So I have 3 actions. One of those actions, I'm going to go ahead and shoot that Ottoman. Okay, I failed. I'm going to do it again for my second action. Bam, got him, which is fortunate. Now with my final action, I'm going to try to advance. Oh my gosh, we got lucky. Mule Gully, which has no Ottoman troops. Now, what that means is these 3 Ottoman troops are now going to be on that final, which is going to make that really challenging. But, hey, better than nothing. We're going to try to move. Roll to 6, +1. We can get everybody up. Actually, not bad, guys. I'm feeling okay about this, maybe. We have 3 fresh guys, 1 unnerved. We actually still have, I'm done with all my actions for this card. We still have 3 full turns. We might get this. Might. We'll see. All right, let's draw the first Ottoman operations card. We have a rifle fire. Roll 1 die, +1 for each Ottoman there. There are no Ottomans there, which is fortunate. We're going to get a hit on a 4, 5, or a 6. Yeah, crap. I'm going to go ahead and take a wound. Not a wound, it's a hit on the New Zealander. Okay, hey, we have life. I'm going to go ahead and do Anzac Spirit because I need to get into that spot. I have no idea what the value is on that one, but I need to get in there. So we're going to move with that +1. So let's flip this. It's a 3, the neck. But that's fine. All right, so we have 3 Ottomans and a fresh, I'm going to move him down there, Ottoman sergeant who has all 3 of his hit points or spirit points. He has to take hits first before you can then start eliminating guys. So you can also see they're going to be rolling 3 dice almost every time, unless I just get a miraculously amazing roll. But we'll see how it goes. Okay. So I advanced. Wait. Did I already advance onto that? No, I'm advancing into the last one. So I get the +1. I'm going to roll a 6-sider, +1, +1, so +2. 5 + 2 is 7, -3 is 4. Guys, this is looking really good. And maybe I should have rallied. But we're going to risk it for a biscuit. Boy, I want to win this one so bad. Our third and final action, we really can't do anything. So we're going to go to the Ottoman's operations phase. They're going to do a rifle fire. This is not good. 1 die plus 1 extra die per Ottoman token. And there is no limit. So we're going to roll 5 total dice, hitting on a 4+, dealing stress, which when you don't have your Lance Corporal, stresses become hits. So this is about as bad as it's going to get. Oh my gosh, we just took 3 hits. Okay, so we have to flip over this guy, and then we'll get rid of 1 each. It doesn't matter, we're not going to be moving. Well, I'm afraid we're going to lose. It's all right. We played the Ottoman card, now we're going to go to close combat. They are going to get 3 dice, and we are going to get 2. Our only hope here is that we somehow roll well. We rolled amazing, but they also rolled 2 hits. So we're going to lose 1 guy because he's going to become unnerved, and we're going to lose the Australian unit. And then we inflict 2 hits, which go first on the Ottoman sergeant. So he's down to 1 spirit. We don't have a chance at this now. It's unfortunate, but it's what the game is. All right, so I'm going to play as my next card because I'm hoping to eliminate some of these guys. I'm going to do a rifle fire. And I do want to show you this part to make sure that I'm not cheating. If you play either the rifle or Indian artillery operations card, we are doing that. Using the card's ability will also count as 1 action. You can repeat this action again at the cost of an additional action. So my interpretation of that rule, I play that card, I use an action for the event, and I'm going to roll a die hitting on a 5 and a 6, and I can do that all 3 times, hoping to somehow whittle them down. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to roll the first one. We rolled a 5. So the pesky Ottoman sergeant is now dead. Boy, that's excellent. Yeah, we're going to continue that. I'm feeling lucky. We're going to use our second action to use that event again. We rolled a 4, which is a miss. We're going to use our third to do it again, and we miss. Had we hit on both of those, I think we potentially could have won. Now we're going to pull an Ottoman, shellfire. Roll a die. 3+ is a stress. If I roll a 6, it's a hit again, or another die. So let's roll. Let's hope we get a 1 or a 2. Yeah. So that kills us. We take a hit because we don't have someone to absorb the stress. Our guy has to take a hit. Well, we just lost the game. The game is now over. I have failed. There are still 3 Ottoman units left on the neck. I do have, another card, but I don't have any guys. I mean, I theoretically could move this guy up, but I'm never going to make it. It's just I'm not going to make it in time. So I'm going to go ahead and call it. Boy, bad rolls occasionally, and that's the way the game goes. So we lost, but I do always enjoy this game. It's fun. I think it's unique and interesting. I think that Joe Schmidt did a very interesting job of using these terrain cards because it makes the game different every single time. And as you can see, actually, these are pretty good terrain with the exception of the Neck and Pine Ridge. The only bad one we didn't have was Gun Ridge and then Baby 700 and Battleship Hill. The interesting thing is, let's say this one had come up. We would have had 1 less Ottoman token because we probably would have taken that out there. But, it's coulda, shoulda, woulda. But I do enjoy that you're going to get a different experience every time you're drawing these cards. You're going to kind of get a different experience. It's very dependent on dice luck, which sometimes the dice are against you. Sometimes the dice hate me. That's part of it. But yeah, there you have it. A playthrough of The Landing, Gallipoli, 1915. Very much enjoyed this. I appreciate you watching. I will turn the camera off, kind of get it reset up, and then I want to share my kind of review or final thoughts on the game. So thank you so much for watching. I've been Grant with the Player's Aid.